Well, folks, it's March, and there's a few things that need to be done, and we're going to start working on it right now. This garden tour is going to take a look at some of the tasks necessary for your spring garden and how to get things going. Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. So welcome to the Bowtie Gardens in Destin, Florida, and we are looking at a whole new world, a whole new season of growing here. Right now, what is today? The 23rd, which means we're in our third day, full day of spring, and we actually had our last frost date about 5 weeks ago, and so we are well past any chance of frost. We're going to be planting out some plants, but there's a process to doing that. And of course, we had a lot of weeds. You saw in the last garden tour that there were deep weeds in these beds, and some of them were quite disturbingly deep. And so we had to do some special techniques to get rid of all that stuff. I say get rid of. Did we really get rid of, or did we take advantage of it? So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to be looking at some methods to getting plants ready to head out and be part of the garden in a healthy way and not just shock them into going out there. We're also going to be looking into planting some of the beds that we have and a little bit of troubleshooting that we have to deal with. Now, to start with, these are my own personal journals of everything going on in the garden and when things happen, so that I can go back and take a look at what I did when I did it. I look at these videos often to figure out when things happen. And full disclosure, everything is running late this year. I actually put mulch in some of these beds back in December of last winter, and I just got what you see in here it is, middle of March. It's very late, so things have been a little bit off. We are working on the house remodel. I have officially started the second phase, which is the largest phase of the house remodel, and it's beginning to take a little bit more of my time, and so things have suffered in the garden. And speaking of the gardens, we actually have right at a 1/4 acre of property, including the house, and we have converted a lot of it to garden beds and places to grow flowers and trees and food and other things. And that's what we're looking at here. We are looking at the third part of 3. Yes, that makes sense, third of 3. And the first part is the front and side garden. The second is the outer garden beds in this backyard. Then this third part, we're going to be focusing on the inner garden beds. And there's a lot going on in here that we have to get going today and make this garden ready to go. In fact, you can see some things different back here. Here is a picture of the property, and it's 100 foot wide and right at 106 foot deep, which again puts it right at 1/4 acre. And we are going to have this other map of the backyard where you can see the back raised beds. We're going to pull that out of the image and put this down in the corner so you can get a kind of an idea of where we're at as we're going along here, talking about the various tasks that I go through each year. And we're going to start right behind me in what I call bed number 1. Now, I normally start over here in the green stalk, and there is just not a lot happening. I did have a short of some broccoli blooms that's probably coming out after this, so yeah, just teaser. I'm not going to do that. There's not much happening there. The dino kale that's in there is just exactly the same as it used to be. I will never plant dino kale in the green stalk again, just simply because it really seemed to limit its size. And I love the way it grew in the front bed that you can see in the front and side gardens. And we've also had it in these beds just right over here. So I might plant some more this year back here in the end of bed number 1. But the very first thing we want to talk about here is my mulching, and I use sheet mulching. And that is where I take these very large pieces of cardboard. Now, there's going to be another video coming out on this. In fact, some of the content you're about to see here in this first point will be stuff from that video, maybe some extra stuff as well. I get these large pieces of cardboard from my local Lowe's. Now, folks, I like to make friends wherever I go, and it's difficult sometimes, but it really helps me at other times. And I've made friends with a lot of people that work at our local Lowe's. I'm in there a lot. It's actually a little further than to go to the Orange Devil, but I have my preferences, and I go over to Lowe's and deal with them with just about everything I do with my handyman business. I became friends with the person, one of the people that runs the shipping department, and he told me about these big sheets of cardboard that they have that has no print, no staples, no tape, no nothing, just a double thick sheet of corrugated that is about 8 foot by 7 foot, I believe. And they are fantastic for my beds because my beds are about 4 feet wide everywhere. So I can cut these things in half, use them wherever I need them, and on we go. Now, you saw in previous garden tours how much weeds are in these beds. There are, and I say are, not were, there are a lot of weeds in these beds that you're seeing right now. The only thing is, it's underneath one of those sheets of double wall corrugated board. And those things are going to drown out those weeds, get them dead, brown, and decaying in short order. And they're going to start getting wet, and that moisture is going to start seeping down into the bed, and worms are going to find that corrugated board, and they're going to start eating it. And they're going to start consuming it. Already, it's been in these beds you're seeing right now. It's been here for several days. So I guarantee you, these double wall boards of corrugation are getting soft quickly. And it's not very hard to plant plants in them. From what I understand, these big sheets of corrugated are used around the country in the shipping containers that they bring into Lowe's. And they're used to separate the pallets is what they're used for. They're not marketing things. They're not anything. They simply stick it in the recycle compressor and send it off to the factory to be made into more corrugation. And that is a great thing for gardeners because those big boards of corrugation will do this sheet mulching wonderfully. And it's thick enough that it will keep everything down. And you can see I still have a little bit of a little bit of living weeds around the edge, and I accept the living weeds. You know, we try to tend to the gardens, and so many people try to conquer their gardens. And the amazing thing is, the more we try to conquer the garden, the harder the work is. And frankly, with my ADHD brain, I need to find things that I can make less work for myself, because that's what keeps my brain going and interested in working in the garden. And so you can kind of see in the background, I've already been filling most of these beds. In fact, over to the right of the camera here is the old pepper bed that's now going to have the strawberry plants in it. But before I covered this last bed over, I wanted to show you what's under this cardboard. Now, this cardboard has been down here for a number of days now. It's been here for, let's see, maybe 4 or 5 days. And this particular bed, if I pull this up, you can see that this is thick. Oh my goodness, thick stuff. And frankly, that's food right there for plants. And so I leave a lot of this stuff in here. It's just where it grew, and we covered it over with cardboard. This cardboard does overlap this little wall of cinder block here, and that's okay, because we are going to be covering all of this over with the compost. And remember, that compost, yes, the compost will start breaking this down immediately. The worms are going to be attracted to it immediately. Changes are going to happen very quick in here. So we've got tomato plants, we've got tons of things, basil growing, got all kinds of things that we're going to be putting out in these beds. We got new pepper plants, and of course the strawberry plants that we're going to be putting back in here. Very excited to see what happens this year. But yeah, this sheet mulching, it really does a good thing. And I know I mentioned it somewhere in this video. They say, oh, but what about all the chemicals? Folks, chemicals cost money. The people who manufacture this are making a cheap product for a basic function. And so they're not trying to put a bunch of expensive chemicals. They're trying to do it as basic as possible. And so this cardboard, this corrugated, is made with such simple processes that it's not going to cause problems for the garden. So something very important to remember, this is really my favorite way. And so here we are. We're looking at bed number 1. That last little snippet was from bed number 3. We're going to get back over there in just a little bit, but I wanted to show you here. See this head right here, and we're going to talk about my irrigation here in just a little bit, but this head right here actually ran this morning. It ran yesterday morning for a very long time. I wanted to get a lot of moisture, and let me tell you something, people. You can see the moisture on that corrugation. That's it right there. And notice how soft it is. My finger just went right through it. So when I need to plant something, I can use my little trowel and dig right through it if I need to, or maybe not, because we have some stuff to plant right in here. And we're going to talk first about direct sowing. Now, anybody know what we planted here last year in this area? I am very excited about it because it was a great harvest last year, and we're going to do it again. This is an area where I keep as an understory. There will be a shade cloth going up above this section, and it will act like an understory. In fact, you can see some shade cloth over there that we're going to get to in just a few minutes. But let's take a look at what we're going to be doing here, because let me tell you something. I am very excited about this little section over here. Now, I will tell you, I will be planting some cucumbers in this area. I plan to direct sow, like I've done in the past few years, some Suyo Long Cucumbers. And by next month, those things should already be germinated. I'm very excited to see that happen. And of course, some of you will recognize my tray of ginger that I put together, months ago. It's been inside. I've been watering it, keeping a little bit of moisture in here at times, and you can see there's all kinds of wonderful bits of ginger growth happening all through here. And basically what I'm going to be doing with this is we're going to be planting it right into this bed over here and getting things started. The amazing thing is, it's just how fast these things are getting going. In fact, you can see not only is there growth on that side, but if I turn it around, you can see there's even growth on this side. So that piece is going to grow up to be wonderful and tasty. I love my ginger, pickled ginger. I just like ginger tea. And we are going, now, you can see that cardboard is right there at the top, and that's okay, because by the time that thing needs access to roots, that cardboard will be broken down and able to get through it. Now, I'll tell you what, I'm going to give it a little boost and break a little bit of that cardboard, put it right over that. How's that sound? I don't know. I'm still learning, folks. There's a beautiful piece. Look at that now. There is a little piece of weed, and I have been pulling these weeds out. A little bit of weed, but there are some beautiful roots already growing out of that. That is amazing. There's another little shoot coming out right there. That, oh, there's a bug. Looky there. That's okay. We like bugs too. This piece here, there's a bit of green right there. It's looking good. Look at that piece looking all strong with roots ready to go and everything. There's 2 shoots coming out on that side, another one coming out on this side. This is going to be a well-developed plant. So that was 4 rows of ginger, and here I have our turmeric, and there's more turmeric underneath here. I already planted some turmeric over here behind this arch trellis, and I'm going to be putting this down over here. Now, folks, I've always said ginger takes a long time to come up. Turmeric takes forever, and you will see in the monthly garden tours how this turmeric is not going to be seen from in a lot longer than that ginger. That ginger is going to be peeking up over the surface here long before this turmeric. Keep an eye on the monthly garden tours, the raised garden bed tours, to see how long it takes. For that reason, you want to be sure you're subscribed so you don't miss those. Now, things like this, I will be breaking up. This is actually a whole plant right here. This is a whole plant. This could possibly make a whole plant. I'm going to do that. And then the rest of this will be another plant. And so I'm going to be setting 1, 2, 3, 4 plants off this, and 1 plant off of that, and that's going to be a really big plant, I hope. Now this piece I'm going to try to get 1, 2, 3, and 4 plants off of this one. I'll break it in half right here. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but it does have this little finger over here. So one there, 2, 3. Whoa, that one actually came up with 2 nodes on it. And this is 1. We'll have to see if this even works. I'm curious if it will. So all that ginger and turmeric took right at 10 minutes to plant out everything. Now, where the soil, the mulch, the compost got thin throughout here, I did poke a hole through the cardboard, which was very easy with a finger, just to make sure there's a place for the roots to go down. I will have to keep an eye out for roots in that area, but ginger and turmeric have proven to me to be quite a bit allelopathic, which means it doesn't let any of my weeds grow underneath them very easily. I do have another row of turmeric in this area, and I have 2 more turmeric plants on the far side of the beginning of bed 2. This is my garden journal, remember, so I'm making notes to myself. And of course, these blackberries are going to be amazing. They're spread out all the way down to the end of the bean trellis we'll be looking at in just a little bit, covering up here and just go through that tree and all over the place over here. And I'm so excited. This is about twice the size of what we had last year in this area. So I have a feeling we're going to have a whole bunch of blackberries in here. Now, Joey Floyd did just ask a really good question while I was editing. Fortunately, it was while I was editing, because we were talking about the great Jasmine caper and have those cuttings rooted yet. And here we are at 24 days. Some of these actually still look pretty good. A few of these, like this one here, is standing up real strong. There's about 6 to 8 of these that look very promising. There's, like this one here, is obviously dead. So we're not going to count on that. There's whatever was here. I think something came along and ate whatever was in here. There are these, I think this is some kind of a ivy vine, which I've been pulling things out of here occasionally, very carefully, of course. And like these little clovers and stuff. The place where I got this soil, it was definitely not clean potting soil. I didn't want to waste too much on this at the time. If this succeeds, I might get some better potting soil in cups and take them out instead. But oh, what is that? Huh, interesting. Anyway, so this is, I don't know what that is actually. I thought for a second, oh, you know what this is? The gardener that used to live there, she had a lot of styrofoam and perlite and other stuff in this soil, so it's probably part of that. But you can see they're still looking green. This one's definitely dead. No, and this one's definitely gone. I think something pulled that out. Other than that, they're still green here, so we'll have to see what happens. I'm very excited about it still. I do want to talk about what's under the shade cloth. And, of course, you remember we overwintered 23 pepper plants, hot pepper plants, chili pepper plants. And I am so excited that they are outside. We've gone through the overwintering process. Now, folks, let's talk about overwintering for just a minute. So these plants here have forgotten what it means to survive in the UV rays of the hot sun here in Florida. And folks, we got the UV rays, I guarantee it. Well, when plants have been inside for a long time, like these overwintered plants, then we have to waken them up slowly. Hey, psst. You awake? Are you awake yet? And the question, of course, comes, how do we waken them up? We don't sit there and poke them, say, hey, if you're awake, are you awake? We have to bring these out a little bit at a time, a little more sun over the course of a few days. I've done it successfully in as little as 4 or 5 days, and I've done it in as long as a week or 2. they need to be gradually re-exposed to the UV rays of the sun. Now we're going to see here that a couple of these plants suffered a little bit and really don't look very good because I messed up. I had started the overwintering process here, and last weekend it was beautiful out here. We were going to have rain, and I brought them in for the big rainstorm, and I forgot to put them back out for a few days. Actually, I didn't forget. I just had my ADD moment and didn't do it. So I have been spending the last few days. It did get about 3 days worth of gradual exposure to those UV rays, and I brought them out a little bit more and a little bit more out here over the course of about 9 days now. So it's been kind of messed up. Yes, it was 9 or 10 days ago I started this, but I've finally got it out here. As of yesterday, it sat out here about 5 hours on the table over by the couch, and now I've brought them over here. They've sat out here with the shade cloth, and they're going to slowly be warmed up. Now we're also going to talk about another process to do this that I've employed, but let's go ahead and take a look at what these things look like. So all these plants are now uncovered, and some of them look a little shady, look a little suspect. They're kind of suffering a little bit. Like this one here has very small leaves on it. Look at that one right over there. And you kind of have to be a little bit heartless with these things. I want to show you a trick. First off, if I take my fingernail, and my fingernails are a little short right now, which is unusual, you can see right there that when I scratched it, a lot of green is right underneath that, just a very thin, paper thin layer of the bark. And I'm looking over here at this guy right here, and it does not look great. So if I come down here and scratch down low and look, you can see that there is no green in there. And that's a problem. That means that this thing probably did not make it over the winter. Now if I go extra low occasionally, now see, this thing is not showing any signs of life anywhere. I have seen new buds come out from below that and create a plant, and I might just leave this out here to continue to try it, but I'm not sure I want to spend time on it in the garden. And so I have 23 plants out here. We have one. We have number 2 over here. Now this one, I can almost see, you can sort out, this is a piece of grass, we're going to pull that out, we don't need that. You can almost tell, it looks like there might be some green here, and I'm just going to scuff a little bit of it away. Oh, no. This thing, I believe, is completely dead. There is no green anywhere down here. I wish it was not, because this is one of my big Scotch bonnets that I love so much. And I don't think we're going to get anything from this. So that means I'm going to need to go plant another Scotch bonnet seed. I'm pretty sure I have another Scotch bonnet in here somewhere. Now, giving credit where credit is due, if you've never seen Callie Kim's channel, it really is worth watching. That is where I got the idea of using these tomato cages for holding up this shade cloth over this area of my garden bed. So yeah, there's another one. There'll be a link in the description below, always in the index. You can look down to this time period in the index, and you can see the link for Callie Kim down there and her channel. She has lots of great videos on growing things. So looking across here now, I've ended up with 3 plants that I do not feel good about, and so I'm going to be spacing the remaining 20 plants out in here, 2 rows of 7 and 1 row of 6, and we're going to evenly space them out, and this will be our new mature hot pepper bed in the future. This area does get some good sun, and I'm hoping it does it well. You can see that some of these plants are just looking like champs. They're going to be great. I only have 1 Scotch bonnet left in here, which means I definitely need to plant more, and that is this one right here. You may have seen you will see my plant tags video coming up here pretty soon. 1 Scotch bonnet planted back in about just a tiny bit over a year ago from some of my own harvested seeds. Folks, if you're not harvesting seeds, you really need to start. It saves you a lot of money. But we're going to be putting these in the bed here. You'll notice we have irrigation. We're going to talk about irrigation and debugging your irrigation here in a little bit. But I just wanted to show you that these things are getting ready to go in. I will space them out nice and evenly. We're going to have a beautiful bed here for those hot peppers. We'll have a few more hot peppers over this way. Now, this shade cloth isn't going to stay here forever. This shade cloth is only going to stay here for maybe a week as these things get more used to the hot weather. And I just noticed something. This plant right here, it does not look very good, does it? What is this? This is a tie hot. Uh-oh. Did I lose my tie hot? Oh well, there may be green in there. I see some green. You know what? I'm going to give this thing another chance. I may have to plant a seed for this also. I like my tie hots as well. I don't think I have any others in the garden. So as I said, there will be cucumbers growing on these. The blackberries growing through here will become the overstory. They can take the sun and they will cast a more dappled light on the cucumbers that are going to be growing on these arch trellises. And anything else I might decide to put in here. I suspect I'll probably end up putting some hot peppers, some of the new hot pepper plants, over on this side. Now folks, before we just totally finish this topic of hardening off, I wanted to talk about an area of our property that you really don't get to see very often. In fact, I'm afraid it may have been almost a year since you saw this little hutch that we have. It was a garden hutch. It was given to us by a friend, and I thought, oh, that's very cool. And this is what I'm using as my hardening off table. And hardening off for seedlings is a little bit trickier because these little seedlings are tender. They have never been exposed to the full force of the sun like some of the other plants have, and you really need to give them that full week to adjust. Now, ADD folks, remember, I have to make things easy for my brain so that they will get done. One of the things that I find most challenging about hardening off plants is bringing them in and out every single day. And I've discovered that I really don't have to do that. Let me show you how. So this piece of plastic corrugation is the piece I use. It's just what I found, folks. You can find all kinds of things like this, but I do like the shape of it because what I will do is I will put this inside, and notice I found the piece that fits this hutch perfectly. I will put it inside here, and that gives me a place down inside here to harden off my plants. Let me show you. I have in here a tomato plant and a sunflower, and look at the root structure on this thing. Can you believe that? In fact, this is one of those tomato plants that we started with that much soil, and we've been adding to it as we go along. That root structure is amazing. This thing is going to be, it's a Principe Bourgeois. It's going to be ready to be put out in the garden before long. Now, our temperatures, they're in the mornings, they get down to about 60 degrees, 55 degrees, which is okay for these. And in the heat of the day, it's getting up to 77 degrees at the most, which is about 25 degrees, 26 degrees Celsius. So these things are going to be fine in this range of temperature. And I can leave these guys in here. Now, at the moment, they have protection from the top and the front. The sun, the morning sun, is going to point in through here. Tomorrow morning will be their first time to be exposed to literally a few seconds of sun a few seconds because of the angle I have this. And this is the key thing, folks, is finding that particular angle that you can in your property to make a good place to do this. Be resourceful. Figure out where you can put it. Now, folks, what will happen in a few days, I will turn this thing and it'll get a little bit more light. So what I'll end up doing, to make a little space for myself here, is I will turn this thing down to where it will get a little bit of sun during the morning as the sun's coming up. Now, we're underneath a cover here, so the sun's only going to hit this for maybe an hour, and I'll do that after a couple of days. After a few more days, when I'm walking out the door going to work, I will simply move it like that. That's the only thing I have to do, and that means on day 3, maybe 4, it's going to get a bit more sun, and eventually this will be sitting out here without any cover at all, and it'll get a few hours of sun in the morning, and they're ready to go. I can move this hutch out a little further. I can put the tray out here in the edge. I can have another table sitting over here. I can do any of a bunch of different things just to use the shade that I have to create that hardening off process with as little work as I can, because my brain, trust me, will forget. I've seen some of the biggest YouTubers out there say, I forgot, and killed something. So we work with what we have, the shade that we have, up the side of a building. I actually use the north side of the house sometimes because it does a little morning sun also. We plan these things so that they can do this process as much as on their own as they can. The only other side is I'm noticing these things are pretty dry. I need to keep these watered. Hopefully, being right here where I walk out to go to the car, I'll remember them. Now, folks, I have here a couple of years worth of harvested beans for the Blue Lake pole bean, and I have learned to love these. Mrs. Bowtie loves them. They grow fantastic in our garden. I actually noticed there's some additional bags in here. Here is some beans I harvested in 2022, and I don't know what this other bag, oh, that must be the ones I harvested in 2023. I am going to use the oldest beans first that I have in here. I see there is a moisture pack in there. I don't know how good. Oh, some of these beans are looking a little bit failured, and so we'll have to plant them. I know I had this seed packet. I started this seed packet back in 2022, and that's what grew these. So I will use these first as we're going through here. I can tell some of these seeds just don't look great. One thing you don't want to do, people, is put these moisture packs in with your seeds. I was doing that for a while. Your seeds do have a modicum of moisture that they need to survive for the long term. And so I have stopped putting these little moisture packs that I get in our pill bottles into my seed packs. I was doing that for a while until I learned I'm not supposed to be doing that. So I'm trying to get better about that. Probably why some of these seeds don't look great, and every one of these seeds actually looks fantastic. So what that means is I'm going to be planting up these 2022 beans in the beginning of this trellis, probably right to the first 5 or 6 feet here. And what I'm doing is I will be putting a little bit of a trough in here. It doesn't have to be very deep. And since we are planting in this horse bedding compost, there's a lot of wood chip in it. So what I do for these bean seeds is I will actually put in a little bit of potting soil in there. You can use potting soil, garden soil, whatever you want. Beans are not picky, trust me. But I do put them directly underneath the arch the trellis. Now this is what's called a cattle panel, folks. And I love these things. I actually have 25 of them on the property. And they are going to probably last me the rest of my life. I've paid anywhere between $25 and $35 a piece for these. They are 16 foot long and 50 inches from bottom to top in this particular situation. So I've got me a little bit of a trough worked out here. I have a bucket with just some potting soil in it that I use frequently. And folks, I'm not making this into rocket science, okay? This is definitely not rocket science. And don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. Whoa, haha, there's a whole bunch of beans that I just planted in here. I typically will plant them once for every vertical, but because these seeds are so old and some of them actually look suspect, I will be planting them about twice as dense. So that's about 6 feet of this in the 2022 seeds. I'll know pretty quickly if they're good seeds, and if they are, then I will continue planting these next year. Might even swap the bag out. They look pretty good, most of them. There are just a few that are turning yellow in here. I'm not going to touch my 2024 seed because I have a lot of seeds left over. These 2023 seeds actually look fantastic, and I only need about 50 seeds or so to have a whole year's worth of harvest. So I happen to know there is a little bag in here that has 100 seeds in it, and plus some others. So I'm going to spread these 100 seeds out the whole length of the rest of this, the extra 10 feet, and then we're going to just stick the rest of these 2020, or as much of these 2023 seeds in as I think I can fit. Now I want to say a few things about these beds, because I recently saw a YouTuber, someone that I watch very regularly, really bash cinder block beds, and it kind of bothered me that he bashed them so bad. But there's a lot of benefits, of course, to having raised beds in general. Number one, you don't have to bend over as far. It's easier on the back, and I actually made these beds for my older age. I'm turning 60 this year, and I have a feeling we will probably be gardening these beds for the next 10 years, if not longer, Lord willing. These beds are fantastic. Now, I did go with cinder block, and let me tell you something. Cinder block really works for me. Now, the YouTuber that I spoke about actually was talking about how no one should be using cinder block, and how there is no possible use, no possible benefit of using cinder block. And I'm here to tell you, folks, that's an outright lie, and that's just an attempt to get YouTube to clickbait as much as it can, because YouTube does more clickbait on absolutes like that, things that are absolutely wrong. Now, he did have a few points. He said that cinder blocks will move, cinder blocks will crack, and cinder blocks will do a few things that you don't want it to do. He's in a northern state, and his ground freezes. So yes, his cinder blocks are going to freeze. They're going to crack when there's water in them. They're going to move. They're going to bulge out on the side during the winter months when the ground expands and freezes and contracts, and it's just going to be a mess. I live in Florida, folks. A lot of you live in territories where the ground never freezes. A very big portion of the country does that. I don't know if it's half, but it's certainly close to it. A lot of you out there, cinder blocks is literally just a dream. The additional thing that this person claimed was that cinder blocks are extremely heavy. They are so very heavy. And he suggested using 2x10s for your garden. Many of you know I'm a handyman. I really can't begin to count how many 2x10s I've carried. I also can't begin to count how many cinder blocks I've carried, as evidenced by these beds, but I use cinder block a lot. I've used cinder block for clients and their beds, and so I'm very familiar with cinder blocks. And when I heard that cinder blocks were so much heavier than a 2x10, I had to go look it up. And you know what? They are within a pound or two of the exact same weight. And a cinder block isn't nearly as unwieldy. I know a lot of people out there cannot be throwing cinder blocks around, much less a lot of mortar to hold the cinder blocks together. Well, folks, I've never used an ounce of mortar on my beds. Never. These are just dry stacked blocks that are just sitting here. Very seldom do you see that my blocks have ever moved. Very seldom do you ever see that my blocks have cracked? Because number one, we don't freeze, but number two, yes, I did paint them. And the paint actually keeps some of the water out of there. Another thing that I really like about these beds, the way I've designed them, look how comfortable they are to sit on these edges. I can sit here. People come out when we have guests over and actually come out and sit on the edge of my beds and are comfortable. When we have the people at the couches over there, and of course the cushions are not on the couches right now, but we bring the cushions out and put it out here, and we have people out here. We have a fire pit that we can move in. But these edges are very comfortable to sit on. They're the exact right height and everything. And so, number one, be aware of people that make absolute claims. This is the only way. This is what everybody should or should not be doing. A lot of that is just trying to manipulate the clickbait. And frankly, I hope I never do that. If you think I've done that, please, oh please, call me out on it, because I want to hear. And if I cannot defend myself, I may actually have to take down a video. Make it happen, people. Keep me honest. And so there you have the beans planted March 23rd of 2025. I am so excited to have these in. They've been due for a while now, and they are good. I got to get mammoth melting sugar snow peas in the front arch trellis. Yeah, you know where those are going to go. And get those growing here pretty soon as well. So that is direct sowing your seeds. Some of these seeds, yes, it's best to direct sow them, like these Blue Lake stringless pole beans. Wait for it's warm enough. These things are going to be popping up like crazy. I am interested to see if the 2022 seeds grow as well as the 2023 seeds. I have used all of the 2023 seeds. I'm saying this because this again is my journal. I may need to remind myself of that. But I've used about half of the 2022 seeds. Guarantee next year I will use the rest of those 2022 seeds if anything germinates down this end. If in fact it's just right about just over here and about 5-6 feet from me. If nothing germinates, I have some 2024 seeds somewhere around here that I will use in their place and plant them a little late, and that's okay. So these are going to grow great this year. I'm very excited. We're going to have beans again. We had a few beans in 24, but yeah. I only need to say one word, loofah. Go look it up on my channel. It was a drama. Not going to have that drama in this backyard again. And now we come down to the final point for today's garden tour. And that, of course, is getting ready to troubleshoot your irrigation. Special credit goes to Mrs. Bowtie for starting the irrigation on cue. I think she enjoyed getting me wet a little more than usual because she had to brave a snake to get to it. So you can see down here, and this isn't going to be a complete guide on irrigation. And if you haven't used irrigation before, I would encourage you to look at it if you have very much garden space at all. But I have a lot of these little heads in here. These are the Mr. Landscaper heads, and I was talking about Callie Kim earlier. She just did an interview with the inventor of Mr. Landscaper, and he covers a lot of really good information on these irrigation systems. And we actually have a pump that comes on every day at a certain time. It's going to be coming on a couple times a day when it starts getting a little bit hotter out here. But I really have liked these heads that have either very few moving parts or no moving parts. And so right now is the time you got to come through here, and I notice like this thing is sitting completely on its side. Well, that's not good. That's not going to do any good. It will spray up some water, but I want this thing to actually give me a good coverage on the plants. And I pull that out. Now I've made a hole in there. That little hole can be plugged up with a goof plug. It's called a goof plug, I guess, maybe because when you goof, you can stick one of these inside there. Now, I'm going to put this on the tripod so I can use two hands here. So for a lot more right now on these systems, I would encourage you to go look at Callie Kim's. I will put a link. You'll see there's a little link thing on the left or the right side of the screen. They talk about this little tool, which is actually quite cool and very useful. And so anyway, I just wanted to cover a couple of things about this tool and how it works. Number one, I need to put a goof plug in that hole right there that I just created. Now, these goof plugs can be very hard to press in by hand. I can do it, but I can totally understand some people not being able to do it so well. However, this little blue tool right here has little shapes to it, and you can actually poke that thing, and you see there, it actually snaps into the end of that tool, and I can go pop it in there, and that's all it takes. That simple. And this head was laying over on its side. Now let me talk about this head very briefly. I really like these heads that have either one moving part or no moving parts. They have some no moving parts. This thing has a little spinner in here that spreads the water out. They do really good. Okay, folks, these are cheap little heads. You can get a bag of 100 of these for not very much on Amazon. Watch for the sales. Sometimes they're cheaper. There's also the ones that don't have any moving parts. I'll show you that here in just a moment. But one of the things you'll have to do occasionally is you will have to clean these out. Now these Mr. Landscaper ones, they twist off like that. They come off real easy. And you may need to get some gunk out from inside that little hole. On the tool, this little yellow thing right here, if you pop this little yellow thing off, there is your tool to clean your heads. Right there, just right there, part of the little puncher. And you go in here and you can clean that out and get anything out. Now, I will admit, I will suck it by mouth. Oh, yeah, I got a piece. And clean that out, but not very often, only when I really have to. But that is the tool you need to clean out these little heads. They're awesome. I carry in my kit just a little piece of wire that was off of an old pressure washer that I just kind of keep around for this very thing. But this thing is a little more sturdy and can push stuff out of that irrigation head a lot easier. So these little ones that have a little, kind of a threaded base onto it, you twist them on there like that, and that is ready to go. Now the other end, this is a connector. You see there's a little point at that end that goes into the pipe, and another piece goes in here. It looks the same on both sides. Now watch what this does, folks. This is very cool. You ready? So you take this thing and you put it right down in the top of this blue thing, and look at there. You have a nice big handle to push that thing onto that little black pipe down there. Nice grippable handle, and this really makes things easy with capital letters. So I will come down here, poke a hole, and now we have a head in the right location, ready to go. So this is one of the heads that has no moving parts, and I really do like these. I'm not sure Mr. Landscaper still makes these or not, but you see this one shoots out water that way, and it does a half circle for about 2 feet. And you can see here is the brand new mint plant that I just planted out. And I don't think it's out yet, but there's a video coming just for you, Chad, so that you can find out what is good about mint. But these heads, yeah, I love these heads. There are no moving parts. Occasionally that little spinner thing on the ones with the moving part gets lost, and so you have to replace it. These, there are no moving parts. I love them. Now, I have experimented with a lot of different configurations for these things, and I really like just a little riser with one of these heads on top of it going right into the black line. This has been my favorite, and let me show you what I have under here. It's just a small stake. You can get a bag of these. They come in a bag of 5, 10, 20, I'm not sure, but that goes down there, and if you put it right underneath that head, it will actually hold the head pointed straight up enough that it will spread the water around and do a real good job. So this has been my configuration that I've been going to, and the black line is just a 1/2 inch standard poly line, and these are 1/4 inch poly line that I just cut off a section of. But you can see there's one there, there's one there, there's one there, there's one down the end. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those pretty much takes care of 25 feet of this bed and does a really good job. Now I want to show you one final head, and that's this one right here. This is a no moving part head, and you can see up inside there it kind of has teeth. Whoops, let's see if I can get that thing to focus. It kind of has teeth up in the top of that thing, and those teeth spread the water around, and you can see I made a little riser here, and I put a little tiny stake there. It's going to hold it. Now this one has actually been there for 3 years now, I think, and it's still doing just fine. Again, no moving parts to fail. At most, you might need to take the little tool right here on the blue puncher and clean out the hole in that thing. It just screws off. Clean out the hole, put it back on. And of course, after the bean trellis, we have our tomatoes, where the tomatoes will be. We've got some Everglades that's going to be growing on this 16-foot cattle panel. We've got Super Sweet 100s that's going to be growing over on that side there. I do want to show you the aloe patch. Oh my goodness, look at these things blooming. This is the neatest thing. A lot of damage on the plant itself because of the snow this last winter, but the flowers, they are coming out, and that is just so, in fact, I'm shocked. I am just truly shocked that these things are coming out. You can see there's another one back over there that looks like it's coming out just as beautiful, and I figured with the snow we would not see these again this year, but we have. So it is official now. The pepper bed. Remember, this is all the hot peppers we used to have. This is now the strawberry patch, and we've actually had a few strawberries off of here. It's very exciting. You can see there's a strawberry there, and over at this other plant, yes, there's only 2 plants in here right now. You saw in that little snippet of the green stalk in the very beginning, there's actually a few more strawberry plants that we're bringing over, but these things are just ready to, oh, these things look like they're ready to be eaten, to be honest. I need to put them on a little dish. I know this doesn't work for everybody, but I think my slugs must be a little lazier. They seem to not bother the strawberries when they're sitting on these little lids that I've saved from, oh, I don't know. I have a bunch of them, and every time I put the strawberries on them, they don't seem to get eaten, except by us. Unless I leave them too long, then the birds get them. I do need to put those red rocks in here, though, so that the birds are a little more confused. I have not done that yet, and we'll be doing a video on that, of course. And so, of course, we're down to the end here, and I do like irrigation. Again, I can't remember if I said or not, my ADD brain, I'm not the person that can water reliably. If you are the person that can reliably water, then by all means, don't spend the money on the irrigation system. Some people, I know, some people just enjoy being out there watering their plants. Gardener Scott has said that frequently. For me, now, and we're kind of getting a big garden, I would never be able to water it by hand. Fortunately, we are blessed to have a house that came with irrigation, a wonderful pump on the irrigation head, and we've just been very blessed with all that set up. That brings us down to the end. The plants that we're putting out, we're getting ready to start planting out those tomatoes. We're going to have tomatoes along this side, and on the trellis behind us over here, we're going to have more tomatoes, and I'm looking forward to tomatoes this year. Oh yes. It'll be wonderful. We'll get up some shade cloths. Mrs. Bowtie likes to sit out here on the couch and soak in the rays, and we're going to be putting out a shade cloth for her. And the beans are not going to get a shade cloth this year. Last year we made a mistake. We put a shade cloth over the beans, and I don't think that I should have. And so the beans will not have a shade cloth, and they will not have loofah plants growing on them either. So the loofah drama, of course, was... It was fun. We had a lot of laughs, but we're not going to do that again. It was a lot of disaster in there as well. And if you have any experience with any of these things, please, please, please share your experiences down in the comment. The rest of us love to hear these experiences, but sometimes we learn lessons from it. If you have any questions, by all means, ask questions in the comments as well, because the questions help other people as much as it can help you if you're genuinely asking. And it's a great thing to learn and to have a format like this where we can learn. And we have a lot of people that ask a lot of great questions. Humblebug, I know I've said it in another video, and they had a great question on a video that questioned my use of invasive versus aggressive plants. And I think Humblebug has converted me. Those of you who have subscribed, who continue to come back to our videos, I so appreciate every one of you. I so appreciate the time that you spend. That's one of our most precious resources, and you choose to spend your time watching my videos, and that is just very gratifying for me. Be sure to click like on this video and share this video with a friend. All these things are free things that you can do to help grow the channel. I hope you have the best growing season you've ever had this year. Y'all have a blessed day.